So I've been playing a lot of Deadlock lately. And even though the game isn't even close to an early access release, let alone a full one, there's something about the game that is so undeniably Valve. There's the world building, the aesthetic, the jank. But by far, what's set to aside from its contemporaries is its colorful cast of characters. The hero shooter genre tends to follow a pretty tried and true formula for making characters. It's important for newer players to be able to identify the playstyle of a specific character at a glance. Like, this dude is big and slow but doesn't die. This dude is fast but dies easily. And this dude is, actually, I don't know what's going on with that guy. My point is that Valve has always done a really good job at this. And to truly appreciate how far we've come, we have to go way back to where it all began. I'm of course talking about Overwatch. Nah, I'm just kidding. This video is about TF2. If you've ever played Team Fortress 2 or even heard of it, you've probably seen one of these videos. The Meet the Class cinematics by Valve are simply iconic. There's just no other way to describe them. They serve as great character introductions to the playable characters in the game, as well as just being good animations. But what would you say is your favorite one? A lot of you would probably say Meet the Spy, Meet the Sniper, or even Meet the Heavy for this one line alone.
Who touched my gun?
But I think a Meet the Class cinematic that often goes overlooked is Meet the Engineer is the least viewed out of all the class cinematics. I mean, unless you want to count Meet the Sandwich. And it's also one of the shortest. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this one, and when I do, I sometimes hear people say that it's boring. Kinda like his gameplay. So why is it slowly becoming my favorite every time I watch it? There's something so simple yet effective about Meet the Engineer that really makes me appreciate the subtlety. Subtlety. At least compared to a lot of the other movies. Let's ask ourselves, what is the purpose of Meet the Team? Obviously, from a corporate angle, it is to advertise the game of Team Fortress 2 and drum up some hype so people will pay money. But how does one do this effectively? A playable character is arguably one of the most important aspects of a video game. It's the vehicle through which the money spender, player, will be experiencing the game. So you have to give the characters, well, character. Show off their personality, but also their gameplay so that a potential player can get sucked in. And I think Meet the Engineer does a great mixture of displaying his character and his gameplay in a very show don't tell manner. That's writing 101, show don't tell. That's what I learned in writing school class. Because of course it's way easier to just throw a bunch of pictures with words up on the screen and have some faceless voice read them to you to explain how the character works. But Valve said,
nah, I'ma do my own thing.
And decided to incorporate those details into the trailer itself. So today, we're going to analyze how hard they cooked. Now, before you watch this video, I highly recommend you go watch Meet the Engineer. I'm going to be starting and stopping a lot, and if it's your first time seeing the cinematic, or you haven't seen it in a while, I don't want you to ruin the experience for yourself. If you've seen the other Meet the Class videos, especially Pyros or Medics, and then watch this one, I think it's a great juxtaposition. So here's why Meet the Engineer is absolute cinema.
Hey, look, buddy. I'm an engineer. That means I solve problems.
From this opening shot alone, we can gather so much information. Compared to the other cinematics where there's lots of... You know, this is quite the stark contrast. We see Engineer playing his guitar in the warm, cozy glow of a campfire. Already, we feel like this is going to be a very intimate and cozy one-on-one fireside chat with our new pal, Engie. Because of all this, we are immediately given the impression that this is a pretty normal dude, but then he gets shot at. It's a great way to punctuate his first line, but this is almost like a quick reminder that we're in the world of a first-person shooter. At first, the setting seemed comfortable and chill, but immediately it became dangerous and hostile in less than 1 second. In the context of the game that the cinematic is advertising, it makes sense that he would be getting shot at, of course, but look at it from the perspective of somebody who might not be completely familiar with TF2. Quickly, you start asking questions, like, why is he so chill in spite of having a bullet just whiz past his head? Or what does this number mean? Or how is he playing guitar with that glove on? The bullet is also, in a way, symbolic of what the engineer's first line is. He says he solves problems, and right away, the audience is shown what problem he's talking about. Also, real quick before we move on, I just want to mention engineer's guitar playing. Although it looks really accurate and is super detailed, I can't speak on if it's actually accurate in any way, but I thought I should mention it. Alright, moving on.
Not problems like what is beauty, because that would fall within the purview of your conundrums of philosophy. I solve practical problems.
The camera zoom here is meant to distract us a little bit. We get a closer look at the NG after seeing the bullet pierce through the truck behind him. Our vision focuses on that bullet hole so that we can kind of think on it for a sec. But the zoom also removes that number we just saw from our vision so that when the camera zooms out again, we are reminded that it's there. Just keep that in your mind for a sec. We also get a sense of NG's character in this close-up. The quote about philosophy is very verbose and again a bit distracting from what's going on around him. You might wonder how he is managing to yap so much while he continues to narrowly avoid a hole in the skull. He gets shot at a couple more times, which seems to draw his attention, and he suddenly stops playing the guitar. Alright, next scene.
For instance,
When the camera zooms back out, he reaches behind this crate, and for a moment you might think that he's reaching to grab this shotgun back here to defend himself, but this is disproven when he instead decides to crack open a cold one. This is a great indicator of his priorities in this situation. He doesn't need to concern himself with fighting back at whatever outside force is trying to kill him. He's just big chillin'. After taking a swig, he places the beer down next to the number to draw your eye towards it. You hear something fire off screen, a heavy dies, and the number goes up. So at this point, it may become clear that he's been sitting here killing dudes for quite a while. But if that's not entirely obvious, the next scene solves that instantly.
how am I gonna stop some big mean Mother Hubbard from tearing me a structurally superfluous new behind? The answer? Use a gun. And if that don't work, use more gun.
He goes back to playing guitar as if nothing is even happening, just straight up aura farming over here. We get a bit of a weird camera angle here to see what's going on behind him, and what we see is, I mean, it's obviously a sniper model, but when he dies, it's definitely Soldier's voice. Anyways, Engineer asks this question.
How am I gonna stop some big mean Mother Hubbard from tearing me a structurally superfluous new behind?
And before he even answers it himself, the turret does the talking for him. We see the source of the sound we heard off screen earlier that killed that heavy, a level 1 sentry turret. Something I noticed too is that the camera angle here is actually from the perspective of the turret, and before the turret is revealed to us, Engineer looks directly at it, almost as if to tell you what the answer to his question is. Then the angle changes again to reveal a level 2 sentry turret. Finally, we get a wide shot to see that he has turrets all over the place. Again, the question he asks is answered by his turrets for him. We can see the solution to his proposed problem completely surrounding him. Doesn't even have to say use more gun out loud. We already know the answer by just looking at the screen. We've really only witnessed NG's character so far, but after seeing all these turrets around him killing enemies for him off screen, we get a glimpse into what his gameplay might be like. On top of that, he also has that shotgun sitting behind him that he never uses or even mentions, but this also gives us a tiny peek into how he plays. Engineer's primary is always a shotgun, and it's an important part of his kit, so having that in the background as a sort of Easter egg is a nice touch. I love this part here where Engineer stops playing guitar to watch the rockets from his level 3 sentry fly. When they explode, he gives a big goofy smile and just keeps on playing his guitar. This is clearly a man prideful of his work, despite the fact that his work involves violently blowing up and dismembering people, but it's a great show of character.
Like this heavy caliber tripod mounted little old number designed by me. Built by me.
The camera pulls back so we can see the level 1 sentry in full view while the Engineer gives us a detailed description of it. Another great detail here is the multiple, probably empty bottles of beer on the ground to further imply the passage of time. And the number keeping track of Engineer's kills has been increasing since the last time we saw it. Now, everything has been building up to this moment, and I'm just gonna let it play out from here.
And you best hope not pointed at you.
Absolute cinema. I can go on about this final sequence forever. There are so many things culminating and leading to this final moment throughout the video, and it all falls into place just perfectly. First of all, the way that the camera is used in this cinematic is truly wonderful. For like 90% of the video, we have one singular camera angle that is zoomed in and out constantly to accentuate points or reveal new information. Engineer does not move from this spot the entire cinematic because he is, of course, the most boring class. I mean, he's the focal point and main character. His turrets that surround him also do not move because they're well, turrets. Engineer as a class is defined by his buildings, so to have him stationary the entire time and let the camera angles do the work is both a great metaphorical representation of his gameplay and of him as a character. For all intents and purposes, he basically is a turret, and the final zoom in is one of my favorite moments in any Meet the Team video. This is the closest physically that we have gotten to Engineer. Since the beginning of the cinematic, we have been taken on a journey. We start off minorly confused and curious as to what this guy is all about. He is very well spoken, and his profession would lead us to believe that he is a smart, trustworthy, and sane guy. He has a very chill and relaxed demeanor, but perhaps too much so. We start to ask questions and wonder why he is so calm and happy-go-lucky when all this crazy shit is going on around him. But this one moment, this one tiny face movement answers it all. This, in my opinion, is the climax of the cinematic. I don't even know how they pulled off such a subtle facial animation in Source Filmmaker version like 0.5 Windows XP edition or whatever they had at the time. Engineer was smiling and happily bragging about his beautiful creations just seconds ago. And throughout most of this video, he's had a big dumb smile on his face, but suddenly and very dramatically, the music stops and his expression falls into almost a scowl as he says the final line.
Not pointed at you.
Not only does he suddenly stop playing guitar, but all background screams and gunshots and other sound effects stop too, except for the eerie wind blowing in the background, making his final line really stand out from the uncharacteristic silence. And suddenly, you have the realization of, oh wait, he is just as psychotic and murderous as all the other classes. If you had any doubts about it, they are now dashed entirely. And then, when that silence is up, all the chaos comes flooding back. This is such a perfect contrast. We go from our closest and quietest shot to our widest and loudest shot. The song ramps up from Enji's acoustic freeform guitar playing into the full version of the song, More Gun, and we get our final shot and biggest reveal. The more the camera pulls back, the more carnage we see. In fact, the cozy campfire that's been lighting the Enji's nest this whole time has actually just been the burning corpse of a blue sniper. Gameplay-wise, we get to see how big of a defensive powerhouse Engineer can be. He is categorized as a defense class after all. We get a full view of the truck behind him, which is carrying a ton of intelligence briefcases, which explains why he's holding the spot specifically against the blue team and why they're all throwing themselves at him. This tells the player basically all they need to know about him, even if the truth is stretched a little. We know now that Engie can't have more than one sentry at a time, but it's so badass that you don't even care. Engineer is so unbothered by everything going on around him because of his turrets. He is so prideful and trusting in his own inventions that he can just kick back, crack open a few brewskis, and watch the bullets fly. And that is a perfect representation of his character. I could understand why a lot of people kind of forget about this one. In these older Meet the Team animations, it was less like a movie and more like a documentary, so they were a lot less exciting and in your face. And of course, they didn't always highlight absolutely every part of their gameplay. Like nowhere in Meet the Engineers there's a scene where somebody gets telefragged, and that is kind of a shame. But they did so much with so little that I kind of don't care. All you really need to know about Engie is that he builds things. It got the point across. The fact that the trailer only shows his turrets and not his other buildings is fine. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. Valve ultimately chose to put the character itself on display more because that's what they valued in their game, not just showcasing what purpose their characters serve. Despite being one of the shortest of all the Meet the Team videos, I think Meet the Engineer manages to pack in so much about the engineer's character and gameplay. There's so much attention to detail in things that Valve produces, and this is no exception. Of course, the other official Valve TF2 cinematics like Meet the Spy, Sniper, Pyro, and even Expiration Date are certified Kino. But this tiny little animation is so simple and perfectly outlines Engineer as a class, and overall it really highlights one of Valve's biggest talents: their characters. There's a bit of discourse I see online about Deadlock sometimes. I've seen the term dead on arrival lock thrown around, which is honestly just really funny. But at the end of the day, the heart and soul of the game is its characters. So now, every time I play Deadlock and I hear a character interaction like this,
Oregano.
All I can think is, yeah, I'm gonna let Valve cook. I just hope and pray that one day Deadlock ends up getting cinematics on the level of Team Fortress 2's.